To be living in a homeowner associated neighborhood or HOA is a very peaceful place. Sure, there's always a small price to pay with the strict rules they have, or things you can have on your front yard, or something like that. But it's a small price to pay for it, of course. But as many knows, there are in fact some HOA neighborhoods that's having some strict members, like really taking these rules seriously. I know for a fact that I have heard some stories of similar kind of things like this, and honestly though, I never believed it would happen to me or my family. My name is Michael. I was 25 years old at the time, along with my wife Anna, who was also 25, with our 5-year-old daughter Kimmy. We had spent so much money in order to buy our first house. We bought a house in a neighborhood that was part of an HOA. We loved the place. It was so beautiful. It was really calm, and we did some research on the neighborhood first before we decided to buy the house, just to see if there's been any complaints in the past or if has been any home break-ins like that, but nothing. As much as big issues. So we bought the house. But the first day when we moved in, something felt a bit off with our new neighbor. I can't put a finger at the moment when I first saw her, but we learned her name was Ashley, and she was in her 40s at the time. And when me and my wife Anna were at the house, she asked us if we were the movers of the house, since we were African Americans. But I said to Ashley with a smile that we were in fact the new owners, and Ashley's face went pale. Even after that, she just went home to her own house without saying another word. Since this was a neighborhood that is part of the HOA, and majority of the households were of white people, but the neighborhood families that lived there had no problem with me or Anna. We were all welcome there in the neighborhood, and we felt really part of it. And the peace it lasted for a little bit, a while. I mean, it was calm and peaceful. We did have our regular contacts with our neighbors and other people in the neighborhood, just normal chit chat. But one day, we did notice that Ashley kept a constant eye on us. And one day, she literally called the police on Kimmy because she was playing on the sidewalk by herself. I was stunned and furious to why she did it. I mean, my daughter was only 5 years old. I tried to explain to her that she was just sitting there playing for herself, but even though she said that she was part of the HOA board members and that Kimmy had damaged the sidewalk, I was furious. But soon as the police arrived, Ashley argued with the police to punish Kimmy for damage the sidewalk. In her words, not mine. One officer looked at this as the supposed alleged damage, but it was just a shock. Ashley was really stunned at even hearing this. I mean, Kimmy was just sitting on the sidewalk outside of our front yard, drawing with chalk on the sidewalk, drawing like animals and stick figures. And the police told Ashley that there was no any direct damage. This can just only be washed off with some water on it. But she refused to believe that we can do anything about it. As soon as they left, Ashley told me that she won't back down. In fact, she said, quote, she won't allow an African American family living in her white family neighborhood because we were bad people. I was just stunned. After that, she just went home. Just shortly afterwards, two neighbors across the street came over to me and warned me and my wife Anna about Ashley. We only knew that she was part of the board of being a member of the HOA, but the other two neighbors informed us that Ashley had done this before. She had terrorized people in the past before. Like, there were at least one family that lived across from our house that was Hispanic, and they were terrorized by Ashley because they weren't quote unquote white people or even good enough for this neighborhood. So they eventually left the neighborhood. They just moved out less than a year after they moved in. I was stunned. And it seems that even that no one dares now to speak against her or would be the next target. And I understood that from my neighbors, and I thanked them for this information, and so did Anna. I realized there was not much we could do about it without causing more terror from Ashley. But for the next few things a while afterwards seems going well, even though we did get a constant look from Ashley from her side of her yard or from her window. I mean, I tried to be polite and friendly, even started a friendly chit chat with her, but she just either said nothing or just walked away. So I was like, okay, this is her own life, so I can't force her to do anything. But then one day, me and Anna decided to invite our parents for a barbecue dinner in our backyard. Since it had been a while since we actually had a family dinner with the family, and since it was still during summer, so we thought why not to have a little bit of barbecue in our backyard. I did look up the HOA rules if it was even allowed for a barbecue, which were permitted. So we had it in our backyard, and we had this small, well, with a small gas grill. And as it was going on, Ashley walked up to the fence and said to us that we weren't allowed this because it was against the HOA rules. But I told her I had checked with the HOA and it was allowed. But Ashley said firmly, no, this is not allowed, and then she left. And not long after, the police arrived as me and our families were eating. I knew exactly what was going on, as our families were clueless. I walked up to the officers and started talking to them and telling them what was going on. Then Ashley came out and said that we were playing so loud music and yelling. But the police didn't see any sign of any, music, playing equipment like a stereo or something like that. So they walked around to the other neighbors and asked if they were true. But they said no, they hadn't even heard anything much of any small talk. So they told Ashley to not call a false alarm like this again because it is against the law. Things seems to be going well after that because after the police had left, let's see, the peace were at least kind of went back to normal. Even our parents at the time asked us what was going on. So we basically just told them what happened. So, but even though after this, Ashley still was glaring at me or Anna, even from her yard or window. Even though when Kimmy was only 5 years old, we had told her if Ashley was walked up to her to run inside the house, to not talk to her or listen to her, because it was clear that she didn't like people of different skin colors or something like that, or different backgrounds, because it was just like that. And we didn't want to have this influence our own daughter. I mean, she was only 5 years old at the time. But one day, Anna was heard that Kimmy was cornered by Ashley telling her that kids like her isn't allowed in the neighborhood and that she should leave right away. And Anna could not believe it. She couldn't even believe that Ashley now took the racist card as well. So she took her phone and started recording in secret without telling Ashley about it. Luckily, Anna was able to solve this issue by telling Ashley to leave her daughter alone. She was just playing in her own yard. With that, Ashley said, despite that, she isn't allowed to play outside herself. She's just a young kid. But Anna told her firmly that she was looking from the window the whole time. But that, well, Ashley just left and things seems to stay calm for a while. But one morning, Ashley did something, and, well, we wasn't even aware of this until that morning when Anna found out that her car was gone. I mean, we have our own cars, but mine was theirs, but not Anna's. So I called for police, and they find out that Ashley had Anna's car towed away illegally. So we pressed charges against her this time, and Ashley had gone too far. But a while later, after all this happened, sure, it was still some peaceful, but there were also some times that were actually were constant nagging us to leave, quote unquote, her neighborhood because we were ruining it, which was not even true. But then I learned from a neighbor that Ashley didn't even own her house, that she was only renting it. Since me and my wife were working as a real estater, we reached out to the real landlord. It turns out he was willing to sell the house since he was moving and didn't want to have it anymore. So we bought it for a fair price. And since me and my wife when we didn't want to have her in the neighborhood anymore, since we were the legal owners of the house now. As soon as we had the paperwork of all that, we put an eviction notice on her door, and it would say that within 30 days she had to leave. She called the landlord after she found the note. She learned that the news that they were new landlord of that at the time she was unaware it was me and Anna. So we set up a meeting to with Ashley. Well, let's say when she saw us walking over to her house with the paperwork and all, she dropped her face with a smile and she was hoping to maybe argue with the new owner that she could to renew her contract or something. But when she learned that we were the landlords, she lost it. She started screaming and was about to attack Anna. But then suddenly, a neighbor out of nowhere just appeared and grabbed her and held Anna and told Anna to call the police. The police arrived. And long story short, Ashley tried to explain that we were trying to break in and kick her out. But I told them that we were de facto the legal owners of the property. And we served her with eviction notice. And they checked the paperwork and confirmed it was legal. In the end, Ashley was evicted from her house and went on put on parole because of her previous attempt at stealing Anna's car and was about to hit Anna. So we put her away. After she was away from the house, we had all her stuff taken out of the house and either she came and get him or they were just thrown away. We didn't even care because the house was ours now. And, well, the peaceful nature returned once again to the neighborhood. After Ashley was officially gone from the neighborhood, the HOA came to us with an apology because they couldn't even believe that Ashley went this as much as a racist and would attack the landlord of the house like that. It told us that we knew that they knew about Ashley's past of being like this before, but they gave her strict warnings and like they told her she will only have 3 warnings. If she doesn't give the third one, she would definitely be kicked out from the HOA board member and of the neighborhood, officially and banned from it. But despite that, she still consisted to being bragging that she was the owner of the house and all, and HOA was really surprised that despite what happened, that no one didn't even tell against her because they believed that she was actually, well, they couldn't go against her. But afterwards, HOA made a new rule that no one is not allowed to do this. If anyone is trying to be not racist or anything, or trying to do this on purpose, they will definitely be kicked out from the neighborhood right away, no matter what. I was really happy to hear that. And, well, me Anna, we're still living in the house, and Kimmy was a bit scared for a while after this, but after Ashley was gone, Anna and I was happy to see our daughter was growing up peacefully and without a problem. Well, we were even called as the heroes of the neighborhood for a while after that. We somehow were able to kick out Ashley from her house. I mean, we went so far that we bought her house from her. I also learned that the neighbor told me this. I actually heard her mention it once. So, thanks to the neighbor who helped us, because if this was even told, well, maybe her terror would have lasted for much longer. So, thanks for that, and Ashley, let us never meet again. Thank you for that.